Okay, so what we're going to do in this demonstration is first of all use two tools. They're both time saving tools. We're going to use two hands. We're going to use the same soap solution method, my preferred one, and we're just going to do a quick time comparison, and then we'll talk about what I sort of experienced at the WCP show. So we've got the Sorbo here. What we're going to do is clean this window here. We'll do a quick comparison. We're going to wash the window once, squeegee over the top, wash it again, and we'll do it again with another tool. So let's time it. Here we go. So we're going to rub this soap solution all in thoroughly, and then we put the tool in the right place at the right time. But because we were aiming for the good quality results, we're going to have to do some detailing with this tool. And we're going to close out to the bottom of this window, because this window isn't a good window to close out on the bottom. So let's just get up here. Let's get this zero detailing done, and don't bother about the bottom part of the frame, because I'm not going to do that with the second attempt. That was 38 seconds. So put the tool over here. Made one mistake with the detailing here, but you never know, I might make a mistake with this. So let's reset. Again, use two hands, use the same soap solution method. Saturate the window once, squeegee over the top, and saturate again. Both times we're not going to be working fast. So mainly this window cleaning video is regarding working fast and the problems with working fast. So I'm aiming for zero detail, zero mistake, and we've got the detailing done in the corners and in the edges, and I'm closing out on the bottom, forgetting the bottom part of the window, and I just shaved 12 seconds off because I've got it in 26 seconds. So just talk about that for a second. I've got much more spread with this squeegee here over the window, so I used the squeegee less, but it gave me less results. I used the squeegee more, it gave me higher quality results. Everything else was the same, from the two-handed sort of way of working and the soap solution. But because I aimed at zero detail, zero mistake with this tool, which is the highest performing, most versatile and adaptable tool in window cleaning, and I've got this soap solution method, which is the highest performing squeegee solution that I can think of, and all it is dish soap on a saturated washer, and it's giving me a high performing glide and precision power and positioning power over this glass. I get to clean the windows in less time by working less hard, getting a high quality result. But I use this squeegee more than that squeegee. But overall, I shaved off 12 seconds on that window. Right, so we've got some noise in the background. Just have to put up with it. So what I noticed at the window cleaning show that I attended recently, I spoke to hundreds of people, and most people wanted to use the pole tool, and I suggested you should concentrate more on the hand tool, because you're going to be using the hand tools much more. I had a bucket of water with soap in the water, and I had a separate washer, and I had one window, it was always the right side window, had the standard soap solution method, and the left window was always the soap solution method that I use. And I said, everybody, look at the difference in the soap, the standard of how it is, how it looks, how it feels, how it works on the squeegee. And you do it there, you do it there, you tell me which one's the better way of working with the squeegee. It was always the left hand side window, because it just gives the squeegee a better performance. Nicely compacted together, same soap, just a different method, same saturation, just a different method applied. So it's just as soapy, it's just as wet, it's just mixed differently to create a much more efficient and effective squeegee solution to work on. You just need this soap. moving on, that's the most important thing to work with. The second most important thing to work with is your two hands. Have a good washer that's going to take a lot of saturation, nice and thick, going to last long, so you don't have to keep dipping it every window you do. It's going to last several windows, but use two hands. And if you're a one-handed window cleaner, 95% of window cleaners that I spoke to were one-handed window cleaners. They have their buckets and the belts on their right side if they're right-handed, and the opposite on the other side if they're the other hand. And I suggested keep your bucket on the belt on the opposite side of your best hand, and that will encourage you to use two hands all the time. So that's a good tip if you're not using two hands. So on the ground, always beneficial to use two hands for many reasons. Number one is you're working quicker. Number two, you're working with more effect, and you're capturing a lot of the soap falling off, and also you're keeping the window wet. If it's really dirty window or it's hot conditions, you're keeping it saturated. And if you're working inside, again, you're working under more control. Third thing that I noticed people were doing was they're working too fast. So the faster you work, the more problems you have. And if I work fast on this soap solution, I'm gonna have a lot of problems. So this stable solution will become unstable, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And again, putting the tool in the right place at the right time, and hopefully if you've got no debris on the glass or on the washer or on the rubber as well, you're not causing any lines. So you just have to put the tool once and you go. And if you do make a mistake, you've got your two hands to wet up again, you can go again. And if you've got, if you're still getting problems, that's because there's a problem with the rubber. There's a problem with debris, or there's this damage to the rubber, because a good rubber shouldn't leave you lines. And the last thing is closing out to the side. But I forgot one thing. This window, I can actually go up very well on this window here, but there were some windows we were working on where it wasn't going up very well. So I said that's when you have to become adaptable and change the way you're working. So you're going to be now having to come down the window instead of going up. When you start, you maybe want to start somewhere different when you're starting the window. And when it comes into close now, is it a good window to close out on the side, or is it a good window to close out on the bottom? This window is better to close out on the bottom, which I did with the Sorbo as well. So they're the main things that I suggested people do. And funny enough, when people address these problems, they could all use this tool. This is the tool that nobody can use, by the way. So it just shows you if you do certain methods, certain ways of working, not work like a typical window cleaner, work more like a surgeon, work more accurately, more precisely, think like a snooker player, thinking 5-6 steps ahead. When I'm up here, I'm thinking where I'm gonna finish the technique down there. When I'm on a pole, when I'm up there, I'm thinking where I want to be down at the bottom. I'm thinking many moves and steps ahead. So because I want the tool and technique to do the job. Now this is the only tool that I know that can give you tool and technique results. Sorbo have a tool that is more precise. It's great that they're now coming on board that precision is the better way of working using a squeegee channel, and Wagtail also got their own precision tool. Unfortunately, both tools make you work longer, harder, slower, and gives you less results because the Sorbo channel has no downward pressure. The Wagtail has downward pressure but doesn't have any cut ends out. And then we had the Legend channel, which was sold for a while. Still not very efficient and effective, but a step away from the standard squeegee. This covers it all. This is only one sort of setup of the squeegee, but it's the most versatile, most adaptable, most precise and accurate tool. And I'm using it as a bare naked squeegee on a pole. I'm going to be using with the flick pad as well. Wash and wipe on the end of a pole, but on the ground we're always using two hands. So later on that day, I didn't know I was going to see him, but Wagtail was there, and he wanted to show me his new tool. And throughout the day, I was telling people to slow down, become more accurate, use the tool in the right place at the right time, be versatile, be think where you want to close out, which is the best method to use for a certain scenario, going up the glass, going down the glass, many things. Being a window cleaner that is not a typical working window cleaner thought process and way of working. Wagtail wants to show me his new precision tool, and I think this is the best opportunity to prove everybody that, not that I'm right, but my way of working is better. Now, I don't know what this tool can do, but I know how the performer of the window cleaning tool is. I know he's going to work longer, harder, slower, getting less results, because if I give him this tool, he's going to be working longer, harder, slower, getting less results. And his tool reflects the way that he works, and Sulbo's tool reflects the way that he works, and they don't work nothing like I work, and that is the end result of the tool that I helped develop with Mormon. I didn't make it. Mormon did all the manufacturing. I just said, this is what we think window cleaners should be using in the future, because they should be working a completely different way. Funny enough, a way that I like to work, which is not like a typical window cleaner, and this will hopefully be the game changer for squeegees. And guess what, it definitely is. So this reflects the way that I work, which is precise, accurate, having a completely different soap solution method, eliminating the speed but getting the quickness with your versatility, your adaptiveness and your skills. So skills, especially with this tool or squeegees, always beats speed. So Willie wants to show me his new tool. He gets his one hand out, he gets his soap solution that's in his pouch here. He starts mopping up the window. Straight away I can see his soap solution is mixed with water and soap, and it's very thin because his saturation is thin. He's using one hand. Now I'm going to show you why this soap solution is not good to work when you're fast, because I'm going to make a load of mess and I'll be going over the same places every single time, like Willie Wagtail was doing. So I advise, don't work fast, don't go over the same places many times, because you don't need to, because you won't be making the mistakes. If you do make a mistake, or if there is a line like an arc, let's just put the tool in the right place at the right time, slow right down, not working slow but working moderately, working efficiently and effectively, because being effective is better than working fast. Because if you're working fast, you're not effective, because you're making a load of mistakes. So he's only got one robotic technique, and he's always closing out to the side. He's not just closing out to the side, he's slamming out to the side. So there's always a splash mark where he's closing out. So from his one hand, from his technique, from the way that he's going over the same place many times, closing out, constant mistakes, but it all results really from his soap solution method. And I said to him, it's a day and night difference in the way that I teach how to work, because I don't teach how to work like a typical window cleaner. And if you don't work like a typical window cleaner, you don't need typical window cleaning squeegees. Use two hands, use the soap solution method that I suggest, which is the most important thing. Put the tool in the right place at the right time, because his tool doesn't go in the corners. Might hug the edges, but it doesn't go in the corners. I'm just looking for 100% results with my tool and my technique, and well, that's what I got on that time, that's what I got on the time before, and the time before that, every single time, because I'm not going fast, I'm eliminating mistakes, and he did me a right result favour, because the people who were watching, they saw how he worked, he saw how his tool performed, and they saw how my tool performed, and he said my tool wasn't going in the corners, my tool was leaving lines everywhere, but he seemed to miss his corners every single time, and his lines and his turn marks and his mistakes and his splash marks closing out to the side, because I wasn't closing out to the side on the windows we were demonstrating on. Day and night difference, not just the tool, but everything that is going with the tool, from the thinking to the way you're working, to the speed, but most importantly, the soap solution method. Same soap, can be the same soap, whatever soap you like to use in your bucket, just change the method and you'll change everything in the way that you work. So that sums it up. I hope you like the demonstrations with the two different squeegee methods and techniques, and everything else in between. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any comments, let me know.